Hey, Lightworkers. So I have been going through the 12 powers, and the 12 powers are the inner gifts that we came into this life with. And these 12 powers are the way that we can, through our physical nature, interact with our divine nature. So it helps us to align with our Christ consciousness, which is when the divine is unfolding through us, for us, as us, and out into our lives to do greater things. So today I want to talk about the power of imagination and how divine design is at work in our lives through the power of imagination. But there's also a secret aspect of imagination that can amp it up. Now, the disciple that is connected with the power of imagination is Bartholomew. Now, teacher Jesus, or Yeshua, he saw Bartholomew in his imagination, sitting under a fig tree before he ever met him. So Bartholomew has come to represent holding positive thoughts in our imagination. Now, our imagination is the ability to envision the happenings of our life. And we do this all the time. Imagine that you want to have a dinner party. You will imagine who you want to invite over, the people that you could see yourself sitting around a table with. Then you would imagine when you would have this dinner party. Maybe it's a Saturday evening. And then you would imagine the food that you would serve. So everything starts in the imagination. Now, this both serves us, but can also limit us, because along with imagining the happy outcomes in our life, we can also imagine the worst case scenarios, which we all have done at some point. Our imagination, it generates our thoughts, which we then act on. So if we're imagining a worst case scenario, we act as if it's true, and then our body will actually react as if it's true, because our brain doesn't know the difference between a real event and an imagined one. That's why you can really stress out about something and feel all the physical effects of it, and then it doesn't even have to happen. But you felt the stress in your body, and that stress impacted your immune system as if it were true. So I have an example from my own life. This happened back in 2017. My mom had, at that point, been living with us for a couple of years. I was her full-time caregiver. She went from being completely bedridden to being able to get up and walk around finally and do her own routine and, take care of herself. But then one night she fell and she broke her leg. Now, as I'm following her to the hospital, because she's in an ambulance, I start imagining all the worst case scenarios. I'm seeing that we're going to have to go back to square one. And I could not imagine, caring for someone who cannot get out of bed is very hard work. And because she lived with us, it wasn't something I got a break from, really. It wasn't my job where I went home at the end of the day and got to do my own stuff. So I was imagining all the worst case scenarios about how my life was just going to get harder. But Neville Goddard, a Unity mystic, says this: imagination is seeing with the eye of God. It's why it is divine design. The power of imagination. It's starting off, of course, with our thought. We're starting right here. What we're picturing is going to happen. But imagination works with the power of choice. So we have to fight for that positive choice. And we have to defend the positive choice, the happier outcome. And this is ours to do. This is our charge. It is on us 100% to have faith and then act from that faith, to listen and act. It is 100% on us, what we are choosing to dwell on. Now, in that evening when I was following the ambulance to the hospital, I kept telling myself, okay, don't dwell on the worst case scenario. Come on, Deanna, don't dwell on it. But we all know that even when we practice the unity principles. God is all things, and that means me. And I create my experiences through my way of thinking and acting, right? And meditation and positive affirmations, affirmative prayer help me to align with the divine within. And it is not enough to know these things. We must live them. We can remember the power of our choice, but then we can still say, oh my God, this was terrible. This thing that happened was terrible. So we're still going to end up with mixed results, because in our imagination, we go to a worst case scenario and our body feels it as the truth. And our focus and direction will go to proving a worst case scenario. Then we imagine a best case scenario. Our body will feel that as the truth. And then our focus shifts to look at things to prove that's correct. Back and forth, back and forth. Now, lucky for me, although I won't say it was luck, but I happened to be listening to my music playlist, which is a whole bunch of positive thought songs. And there was one song that came on, and it snapped me out of that worst case scenario thinking. And what it got me thinking on was how right that moment was my sacred assignment. And this is the truth for all of us. This moment we're standing in right here and right now, right here is our sacred assignment. This is where it is. It's not out there in the future. It's right here. And so in that moment, I recognized, okay, this is my sacred assignment to choose how I'm going to show up right now. And I couldn't initially imagine my happy outcome, but I could imagine, okay, how this is my sacred assignment. I get to choose how I show up. It is divine in design, which means that the highest good for all of us is available. It is available. Our highest good is always available. But I knew I had to do my part, which was to say, okay, this situation does not get to control how I show up. This situation does not get to dictate whether or not I imagine the worst case scenario or the best case scenario. I do that. I choose that. I am open to solutions. I am open to ideas. I am open to the guidance. I will listen and act. What might the outcome of all this look like? I have no idea. I will let it surpass my expectations. All of that was in my imagination. So we can experience mixed results if we don't have a clear picture of what we'd really like to experience. Sharon Connors, the Unity Minister, who wrote a book on the 12 powers, she said, your imagination is your capacity to form pictures in your mind's eye. It is said to be the architect and builder of our dreams. You know, there is a higher vision for your life, which is divine in origin. Yeah, I'm going to say that again. There's a higher vision for your life, which is divine in origin. Now, we all feel this divinity, okay? It'll feel like something within us, or it could be something in the environment speaks to us and we feel that within us. Like that night when I heard that song and it snapped me out of my thinking, my negative thinking. So we are not going to know how all of this will work out. We're not going to know how yet. And that is actually another sign that it is divine in origin, because our vision, it will be divine in origin, because the reason it's divine is that we have to live in faith. We have to listen and act. We're not going to know how to get there on our own. We must rely on Source working through us, for us, as us. That's our only choice. And so even though we don't know how everything is going to pan out, that vision still compels us. It still compels us. Now, we also have fear-based visions, right? Visions for our life. But those visions are usually about stuff out there, the conditions, the situations, the people, the things that we want to go our way so that we can be happy. The things we want to change so that we can have what we want. Like that night following my mom in her ambulance, and I was thinking, I wish this never would have happened. This can't be. This can't happen. Now I can't be happy because of things happening that I don't want to happen. All right? So this is our fear-based vision, where it has to go our way, or it has to change to be how we want it to be, or it has to have never happened. Okay, so a divine vision for our life, we feel it like it's resonating inside of us and it compels us. Now, there is a secret ingredient that we can add to our imagination that will amp up our divine vision, and it is the power of love. And I'm not talking human love, like, oh, I love my grandkids, oh, I love chocolate ice cream. I am talking about love as the movement of pure source energy. It is the impulse of source to create through its creations. Love is an energy that is in motion, and love is moving through you right now, and it is expansion and expression of the all that is. Okay, this is love. So when the vision in your imagination is of divine origin, because that power of love, cosmic love, right? Cosmic love that nothing in this universe can resist it. That means you have 100% support of the universe because it is already moving through you, for you, as you. And you will notice this desire of the universe to create through you, right? It is the impulse to create through you. You feel it. You feel it. And it brings all kinds of feelings with it. Excitement and zeal and curiosity. And the author and scientist, Greg Braden, he says, feeling is the prayer. Feeling is the prayer. It is feeling. That is the prayer. Whether we are feeling the happy outcome to be true or the worst case scenario to be true, that feeling is going out to create our experience. So if we're stressing out and worrying, it's impacting our immune system as if it is true, right? We are creating that experience. Feeling is the prayer. Now, Greg Braden shared a verse from the book of John, and in its original translation, and it goes like this: all things that you ask straightly, directly from inside my name, you will be given. So far you have not done this. Ask without hidden motive and be surrounded by your desire. Be enveloped by what you desire, that your gladness be full. Okay, and this is from Teacher Jesus. And so what he's saying is all things ask straightly, directly from inside my name. Align with the divine within. It's how we ask for things then that aren't fear-based. We align with the divine within, so we are aligning with the universe's vision for our life, right? Then he says, so far you have not done this, right? How often we're asking for things because we're stressing out about things. Please don't let this happen. Why did this have to happen? That's not fair. Okay? Ask without hidden motive and be surrounded by your answer. Ask without hidden motive. Ask for what you really want, not what you think people should want for you, and not what you think, like, oh, my family would want me to do this, right? Ask for what you really want and be surrounded by your answer. Let life speak to you. When you ask for what you really want, because God is an everywhere present force, answers, ideas, inspirations, guidance, they can come from anywhere. Miracles can come from anywhere. Synchronicities. They can come through us. They can be an overheard conversation or a song that happens to play at just the right time. Okay? Be surrounded by your answer. Life is speaking to you all the time. And then be enveloped by what you desire, that your gladness be full. Be enveloped. Feel it. Feel it. Feel the best case scenario. Feel the happy outcome. You don't have to know how. You don't have to know like the total outcomes. Okay? You can let your expectations be exceeded, but be enveloped by what you desire. See it, feel it, live it. Let your gladness be full. Right? This is being grateful that it happened, even though maybe it didn't happen yet. Okay? Emily Cady, in her book Lessons in Truth, said, desire in the heart for anything is God's sure promise sent beforehand to indicate that it is yours already in the limitless realm of supply. And whatever you want, you can have for the taking. If you have that divine vision, it's from source. It was meant to be. It was meant to be yours. So unless your vision, like in your imagination, is charged with desire, right? Because this is what identifies it as divine in origin, you'll struggle. If your vision is charged up with like, oh, how am I going to do this? And I've got to manipulate this thing, and I've got to change this thing. Okay, we're going to struggle if that's what our vision is leading us to. Right? If our vision like doesn't have all the answers, and we're like, well, I have to know everything. It has to go this way. It has to go that way. We will struggle. So we're looking for that vision that is charged with desire, and we're excited, even though we don't know how it's going to pan out. Even though we don't know how we would bring it into this world. Vision is an experience, right? Even when we have no idea how it's going to work out. Vision is an experience, and we feel it. And because it's from our imagination and it's affecting our body, imagining the worst case scenario, we're going to feel it. It will impact our immune system. Okay, but that happy outcome, that divine vision, then we have no idea how it's going to work out. Right? That also creates an experience in our body. So back to when my mom is in that ambulance, I'm doing better, right? At that point, I'm like, I don't know how this is going to all work out. I only know that it does. I don't know how this is going to all work out, but I do know there's that within that knows what to do, how to do it, and it will compel me to act on what it knows. And then it turned out that once they got her leg set, she got sent to rehab where she had to do intense physical therapy until she was back and even better than she was before she broke her leg. Okay? We imagine the good, right? We just keep imagining the happy outcome. So here's our call to action for this week, our affirmation. I'll say it and then let's say it together. I imagine good unfolding in every area of my life. I imagine good unfolding in every area of my life. We see it, we feel it, we live it. When we can see it, when we can feel it, we're halfway there. Okay, we are halfway there. And the universe will do for us what we cannot do on our own. Rumi says the source is within you and the whole world is springing up from it. The experience of our life is springing up from within us, whether it's a worst case scenario or whether it's the happy outcome. The experience, our experience, starts with what we imagine. That goes into what we're thinking, and then what we're feeling, and we'll experience it as if it's true. Even if it's not, we all know that. But then that determines what we do next, how we act, how we show up to our life. Okay, whether we show up freaking out about the conditions in our life and wishing they would all change so that we could be happy and asking, why is life so unfair? Right? Or in our imagination, we imagine a happy outcome. Like, how might this work out in my life? Right? How might the universe direct me? So here's our invitation. All through this week, we have so many opportunities to ask, what am I imagining right now? Right? We'll notice, okay, am I in a worst case scenario kind of vibe? Right? Am I stressing out? Or am I imagining a happy outcome? Okay, maybe it's, maybe sometimes we have trouble because of a super difficult situation. Now that night when I was having that the difficulty going into just the happy outcome, all those years ago when I was following that ambulance, I did like keep reminding myself, okay, God is all things. God is all things. And I just never know how God's going to show up. This is going to be surprising. There's that within me. It knows what to do, how to do it. It compels me to act on what it knows. So when we're in a super difficult situation, we remind ourselves we're the only one who's going to do it, right? I mean, somebody else could say it to us, but if we don't want to hear it, we're not going to hear it, right? We have to want to hear it. God is all things. God is an everywhere present force, meaning God is already in that situation we don't like. God is already there. Everywhere that we want to go, God is already there. So I like to ask this question: what is God's vision for my life? God's vision for my life is abundance. God's vision for your life is abundance. You remember teacher Jesus came here and said, like, I came not just so that you'd have life, so you'd have it abundantly. And abundance is love and peace and understanding and the freedom to choose to allow the divine to work through you, for you, as you, because that is how we are creating heaven on earth. So remember, you are divinely designed to be doing all of this. It is in your spiritual DNA. You are a one-time, one-of-a-kind cosmic event. In everything you do, you are blessed. And so it is.